Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Smart Office podcast. Again, we're here today, this two-part series with Karen Mangia, CEO and founder of Powerful Policies. And we're excited to be here. We're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about Powerful Policies, what they do, and what we could benefit from it. But I want to talk a little bit about Karen, a little bit about the journey, Karen, CEO, and that a lot of founders, to be founders, to be CEOs in today's AI world, there's a lot of opportunities to create companies. So we're going to leverage Karen's experience and see what we could, a lot of audiences would want to hear what she's saying. So, Karen, welcome again. You've held leadership roles at Salesforce, Cisco, AT&T, and now you run your own consulting company, right?
Yes.
When you reflect on that journey, what led you to create Powerful Pauses?
Originally, I created Powerful Pauses when I started writing my books. In fact,
Right.
my hypothesis was that would be the title of my first book. It just happened that it wasn't. And instead, I leveraged that as an opportunity to have a small consulting business to do coaching and consulting. And over time, that grew. And I saw an opportunity in the past year with this intersection between customer experience and AI to really bring a new level of expertise to clients at a time when they're searching for how to use AI to the best benefit
Right.
and to realize ROI. So, having built and brought an AI solution to market and a big background in customer experience, I thought the time is now. The time is right.
Wow. I mean, I know I was going to ask you what's the story behind the name Powerful Pauses, but if you want to elaborate that, what moment in your career made you realize that this could be a competitive advantage?
Yes, I had a situation where I was leading a big team and working quite a lot. And strange things started to happen, and I kind of explained them away. I think we all do this.
Right.
I was really tired, and I realized I was working a lot, so I wasn't sleeping as much. I started gaining some weight, and I thought, well, I have all these client dinners. Then I'm skipping going to the gym in the morning to do the work I didn't do while I was at the
Right.
dinner. I think we've all done this.
We've all been there.
Yes, we've all been there. One day I had this impossible to ignore moment where I went to pick up my mobile device to call my brother. I couldn't remember his name,
That's
not even
yeah.
a little bit. And unbeknownst to me, that started a 3.5 year journey of major medical and misdiagnosis where my hair fell out, my skin turned gray. I gained 55 pounds and didn't have a baby. And one day I looked in the mirror and my eyes had literally changed color and no one knew what was wrong with me. And that became really the first time in my life, I can tell you with incredible clarity, that I took a very powerful pause and got incredibly clear that my top priority was to become as healthy as I could be. And that became a very important filter for everything in my life that I said yes or no to. Because all I wanted to know was, would that yes or that no move me closer to or further away from my top priority of being healthy? Now, I'm fortunate that I found a physician who correctly diagnosed me, and it took another 5 years of treatments to get to a completely clean bill of health. And what I discovered during that period of time is the pauses that we choose are very powerful. They're empowering, right? When a pause is inflicted upon us, because usually we lose something or someone we love, a
Yeah.
job, a relationship,
Right.
that feels so difficult to cope with. It feels like it was forced on us all of a sudden. And we use that phrase, it gave me pause. Well, when we choose to pause because we're clear about what matters, that's empowering. And so it completely changed my relationship with how I manage time and how I see success. And I felt really compelled to share that story with a whole world of people who I think are struggling with those same trade offs every single day.
Wow, that's really powerful. I mean, that's really a powerful pause. That's really a powerful pause right there. I mean, let's talk a little bit about, we'll talk a little bit about before you pause, like you've built a career of the customer. How has that shaped your approach as a CEO and cost consultant today?
What I've discovered is that if we listen to our customers, they will tell us everything we need to know to be successful.
Right.
And that when we listen and understand what they're asking for, we need to share it with other people in the organization who can help.
Right.
So often we think we know what our clients want. We develop a new offer, a new contract, a new staffing model, and maybe they don't want it. It doesn't solve their problems. It doesn't help them create a competitive advantage. And what I discovered time and again is when we listen, what we're able to do with our clients is co-create something, co-create progress, co-create a solution. And at the end of the day, we all feel greater ownership of what we help to create. So there's a virtuous cycle of value that says, listen, analyze, act. And out of that comes this creation activity that really deepens relationships and leads to better customer relationships and improved loyalty.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about powerful policies. For those discovering your company for the first time, right? What is the core mission of powerful policies and why does it matter right now in this day and age?
We matter right now because everyone wants to know how to keep the clients they have, sell more to the clients they have, and also attract new ones while candidly keeping top talent. And so I believe that the time is right at the moment to take all of the foundational work that we've done through the years in customer experience. Some of your listeners may have been in customer journey mapping sessions or, segmenting your customers or cleaning up your customer data. All of that has set the stage for us to know our customers better from a data level. And then AI now gives us the power to really act on all of this information that we have about customers in a powerful way that creates results. And what I have seen so many times with clients is they know they need to do something with AI. They just don't know what. They know that it might help offload some tedious tasks from their employees. They know it might help deepen their customer relationships. They just don't know how. And people feel nervous about placing a big bet, spending time and money on something that's unfamiliar and in many cases unproven.
Yeah. It's powerful policies. Is it a service? Is it a software? What are the type of clientele you do care?
It's a service, yeah. Consulting services and also coaching as well. I spend a lot of time with individuals, teams, and organizations, exploring their values, discovering their priorities, and really defining what is customer experience and excellence now. I mean, we've all had excellent experiences. We've also all had terrible experiences with organizations and companies. And so it's how do we bring that into the way that we serve our clients every single day?
Okay. That's right. I mean, it's a service. You provide these consulting services to companies and individuals. Is it a B2B? Does it service B2B clients or
Yes, B2B clients at the moment. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what type of challenges do these clients bring to you most often? Like how does your methodology help them maybe gain clarity in this service?
What I think about is the intersection of people, process, and product. At the end of the day, essentially any solution that you deploy inside of your organization or for the clients you serve is going to affect all three of those. Most organizations focus on one at a time, as opposed to the intersection of the three. So in my life cycle, I start with whoever the champion or change leader is going to be and ask some questions. I get very curious. Why do you want to do an engagement? What does success look like? What do you think you know about your clients? What do you wish you knew more about? Where do you see the gaps? Where do you see the opportunities? And from there, I do an interactive workshop with various stakeholders from across that organization that play a role in people, process, product, and the people who are client facing as well. We get curious together in these workshops. And once we think we know what customers want, the next step in the process is I go out and validate that on behalf of the team. I mean, we don't always really know what our customers are thinking, even when we think we do. And so I find a lot of organizations skip that step of validating, would this really solve a problem or create an opportunity or deepen a relationship with a client? So the next step is doing the real verification. Then it's coming back and refining, how do we turn what we've heard and what we aspire to do into an operational playbook that we could deploy and implement so that we can get results. That always starts with a pilot. We always start small and want to test and make sure that it's feasible for the organization to free up the resources to do this with excellence, and also that it's getting at least directionally the results that we believe. And then we adjust accordingly, and I help organizations then build out their quarter by quarter playbook to advance those initiatives.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, many organizations don't know they need this service. For a company that wants to maybe visualize success with powerful process? Like, what does a successful consulting engagement lead look like for you, or when viewed through the powerful process lens? What's a
The
successful
most powerful
yeah.
moment is when someone has spoken something into the conversation that they believe is important to the business. So, for example, we need to improve customer retention and renewal by 10%. And then we go through all of this discovery and experimentation about how to do that. And then we try it. That first moment where you see the improvement, oh, it's rewarding because people get motivated and they see there's progress. Your customers see it, your employees see it, then we build momentum from there. So ultimately, a successful engagement is one where we're clear about what we're trying to accomplish. We've got definitive measures of success. We've got a diversity of voices at the table from the business, and we have a willingness to experiment and to adjust based on what we discover.
Okay. I believe you've written a couple of books, right?
6.
6 books, a lot of books, right? And you've written books about remote work. I was just checking your profile online and reading. I mean, that's a wealth of experience. Written books about remote work, work-life balance, employee experience. But AI today is shaping the future of work from your perspective. How is AI reshaping the? I'm trying to figure out. I've had these questions with a lot of CEOs about work-life balance, how people can feel in today's AI world. There's a lot of there was pre-COVID and post-COVID working environment. How is that turning on in the world of AI? Where do you see us moving in 2026? More and more companies are thinking back to office. They want the footprints back into the office spaces, but with AI and everything, how do you feel about the future of work from your own perspective?
Work smarter, not harder, can now become a reality.
Right.
People who are using AI effectively can produce more work of a higher quality, of a higher value in less time. That is the premise and the promise of what AI gives most workers in most situations. Now, I realize if you are working in manufacturing, your hands on building a machine, it doesn't really help you as much right now. But for many knowledge workers, it is the opportunity to work smarter. And that smart doesn't rely on your human ingenuity.
Exactly.
It relies on the smart use of a vast array of resources that are available to you that were not available before.
Right. A lot of consultants are hesitant now. Companies are hesitant. Like, I know I've spoken to many, work with many companies, talk with many CEOs. They are still nervous about incorporating, letting their consultant use some of these tools. So many guardrails. They say you have to do training about data security. What's your take on that? Because people are nervous. Nervous. I look at it back like in the days of Google, where companies were like, they'll mark Google down and their firewalls will prevent Google from running on their machines. Today, it looks like they're implementing the same strategy with AI tools. But I recently listened to the CEO of NVIDIA, one of the most valued companies in the world, and he says, I'm using these things at work, but a lot of companies are still hesitant. What's your advice on that and to some of the CEOs and CTOs and big tech companies or big companies?
We need to broaden our perception and definition of AI. 99% of the time, if I say to someone, what is AI? They'll say ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. That's it. That's the use case. What if instead there's a great platform called reclaim.ai. It will manage your calendar dynamically for you. So you could go in and say, after 4 hours of meetings back to back, I always require a 30-minute break. I have 3 workout windows per week that happen at these times. Maybe you're diabetic, so you have certain needs of when you need food. I need 15-minute breaks every 3 hours. And you put those requirements in, you set your working hours, and Reclaim AI all day long is dynamically rescheduling your calendar to meet your parameters. Well, now I have healthier workers. I didn't do anything to compromise the work product I gave my employer. What I was a healthier and more effective employee. Fear is rooted in this very narrow definition that you're going to take as the employee the homework that I gave you as the CEO, and you're going to cheat on the test by putting confidential information in ChatGPT, and then you're going to send it to me and send it to my clients, and it's going to be awful. Well, what if instead the use of ChatGPT was I went in and said, I have to work 60 hours this week. How can I still work out 5 times for 30 minutes, eat 100 grams of protein, no gluten, no dairy, and get 7 to 9 hours of sleep, map it out? And then I did that. See, when we get this very narrow definition that I'm cheating on the homework assignment by using AI, as opposed to I could be a better healthier, more present, more robust employee who costs less on that medical insurance, who delivers better product, who has fewer days of absence, then I'm starting to embrace what the future of work could be, which is infinite possibilities of how to have healthier, more satisfied, more engaged, more effective workforces.
So why do you think it's a challenge for CEOs? Because sometimes as a CEO yourself, if you managing probably if you have number of employees, you recruit them for a specific task, let's say for managing your emails and calendars. And now they are able to incorporate tools in which they could dynamically reply or work with clients in such a way that they give human nature replies to your emails with the speed of light. So clients reply and they manage their emails, manage their calendars, and you feel like you're paying somebody for 40 hours, but this person now is able to incorporate these tools where the AI is doing 90% of the job. Would you feel like still, even though the employee is producing quality work, better job, replying faster responses, would you feel like you still deserve to pay the employee 40 hours a week if the employee is smart enough to incorporate these tools? Because that's where the challenge comes in, where now it's dawning on CEOs and companies are either managing their budget to see like, if we could incorporate these tools, instead of probably hiring 10 employees, we could look for 2 using these tools more efficiently, like maybe 12 employees doing it manually. What's the trend? What's your perspective on that?
It's time for a mindset shift from success equals hours worked to success equals outcomes delivered.
Right.
Your comments remind me of a conversation I was having the other day with a chief revenue officer. And what he says to his team is, I should never see you on a Friday, ever. Because if I see you on a Friday, what that means is you're not managing and running your business well, meaning you're not hitting your targets. Sales has such a clear definition, right? You either sold enough or you didn't. There's not a sales leader on the planet that cares how many hours a salesperson's working if they're 200% of their quota. Look, if you can figure out how to work 10 hours a week and be 200% of your quota, I frankly don't care.
Right.
That mindset needs to permeate other parts of the organization.
So it's about results, not about hours work.
Yes, outcomes delivered, not hours work.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's
value, not volume.
I think that's going to be the greatest shift in the next couple of years, where companies should be looking at results and not hours work, because the hours work thing has been a drain. I was just talking to a friend yesterday, and he's saying he needs to stop exchanging his time for money, because work-life balance is non-existent if he is. There are certain professions, let's say probably nursing in the medical field, where you have to be there to care for the patients. There's no way you could care for a patient for 12 hours and you turn it in 2 hours. But there are certainly so many professions where the results can be better off, not with regards to the number of hours. Some people feel like you need to fill a timesheet. You work for 40 hours a week. We need to see what you did for 40 hours. And probably and I look at it this way. You say 40 hours a week, I'm paying you for 40 hours, but what you're showing me, you could easily do it for maybe 10 hours. But you kind of come across the fact that with regards to your skills, if you have more skill and more experience, you could easily do something that somebody with less skill for 40 hours, you do it for 10 hours. So it's different. It's, as you said, employees need to have a mind shift. And in the age of AI, what advice would you give how do you see consultants approaching this? I mean, you're talking for the aspect of the CEOs. Now we're going to consultants who are hesitant to implement these tools. They want to be smarter, but they're hesitant because probably the CEOs are like, you know what, we want to pay you for the manual work, not to work smarter, but to do a manual job, right? So what advice would you give consultants? How would they approach this?
When you change your story, you change your results. Stop being the person that when someone says, how are you doing? You go, I'm so busy. I'm working so much. Instead say, do you know I did 68 client reports today? It was amazing. Stop. Don't say, and it took me 5 minutes. Just say.
You don't have to say it took me 5 minutes.
Results.
Yeah,
we are our own worst enemy with this because we perpetuate this. I'm going to tell you I'm busy and I'm working all the time and I have no work-life balance. My hair's on fire. I haven't had time to get a coffee. I'm so exhausted because all I do is work, work, work. Change the story. Start positioning yourself as the most productive employee in the workforce. Suddenly everyone will get curious about what you're doing.
So in today's environment, you see work-life balance changing. There's been a shift of, sometimes there was some time ago, they were talking of a 4-day work week instead of a 5-day work week. If companies are at least serious, they could, with today's tools, they could have a 4-day work week and have better results if they could effectively implement the time. So what future skills should consultants start building now to stay relevant in this AI-powered world?
For consultants, be ridiculously curious. Ask, 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 ask. Listen, 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 and then synthesize. What does this mean? What's good about this? What
Right.
could this become? The
Right.
best consultants are the most curious. They don't believe they have all the answers, even if they've heard the same problem 60 times. That beginner's mindset says, I've never heard this before, and there's always something new to discover. That is a very future-proof skill. Next, become fluent in the language of AI. Not talking about it just makes people think you don't know about it. So
Right.
become fluent in the language. Talk about the trends that are happening. Talk about little experimental tools you're trying. I just used one to plan a trip the other day. Talk about that. Hey, you've got your next family vacation. I use this AI app. Do you want to give it a try? Tell me what you think. Isn't it cool?
Some
Be the
colleagues,
person who tries, right? Be the person who tries and speak that language. Yes. And last is, I think for consultants as well, it's also about building your brand of being known for being curious and kind of leading edge with what you'll try. So that extends to what you publish on social media. If you're a LinkedIn person, start publishing one AI tip or question a week.
right.
Create a brand for yourself as a person who's always going to the next frontier.
Yeah, I mean, so you've said, I mean, given your experience, you've said so many things that consultants going to look up to. I mean, if it's amazing. I mean, some companies may be guilty conscious you for using AI. I don't see colleagues talking about using AI tools during work meetings. They may be using them, but they don't talk about them because they feel like, as you said, it makes you feel like you're cheating, but you're being smart, right? You're cheating and things like that. It's been a worth of discussion, Karen. I know I don't want to close this podcast without asking you a couple of last questions, which I know you've talked about your experience, your past, but running a consulting business takes energy and clarity. What personal pause practices keep you grounded as a CEO?
I am a big believer that the way you start your day sets the tone for your whole day. So in the morning, the first thing when I wake up, I meditate, I write in my journal, and I do some movement, some exercise, some yoga, whatever that looks like. That's critically important, I think, to put yourself first thing in the morning. Next is routines, rituals, and boundaries. So what are your non-negotiables, right? If it's every Sunday you have a family Sunday dinner and therefore you don't work during those hours, set that as a boundary and stick with it. I think that's critically important. And also for me, it's about, in addition to, that morning routine, it's also an end of day routine. How do you shut down work so that your brain knows you're shutting it off? That could be turning off your laptop, leaving your office, an end of day work song that you play every day, whatever it is that signals to
I
you
need to
also,
practice that.
yeah, we're now going to leave work, especially when people work at home. We're now going to leave work and we're going to leave it behind so that our brains and our bodies can shift into a more relaxed mode.
I really need powerful pauses in my mindset, in my work life, because sometimes I feel like if I don't get something done, I don't get it done. I feel like leaving it behind, taking a pause. I'm hesitant, but from what you're saying, we need to do more of that than just think we could just work without a work-life balance. Now, one last message: if you had one message for consultants and leaders listening to you right now, what would it be? Like just one message, maybe as we round up this podcast. What would be your advice?
Pause, ponder, prioritize.
Right.
Take a couple of minutes and just pause, not in a meeting, not between two meetings, just pause for even 5 to 10 minutes and think about, what is the most important thing I could do to move myself 5 minutes forward?
Right.
Then prioritize that. Then do that again. Even if you did that once a month, you would be significantly ahead. If you did it once a week, even better.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Wow, it's been Karen Mangia, CEO and founder of Powerful Passes based in Indianapolis. It's been a pleasure and privilege and honor to have you on the Smart Office podcast. My name is Hippolyte Asah, the podcast presenter. We hope to have you back here again sooner than later. Like, there's a lot we could talk about, but time is got caught up with time. There are different topics. I mean, given your experience, there are so many things that lots of consultants and lots of new CEOs, people trying to be founders, lots of people trying to start a company like yours. There is so much with AI today. There's so much opportunities and so much worth out there for everybody. But your advice has been key. Thank you again for being here. we look forward to inviting you or welcoming you again to the platform. Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to our next conversation.
Okay, bye.